Don't you find it so strange about Bill Gates' obsession with African women? Don't you think this is very strange? Instead of Bill Gates being concerned with men's things, he's very concerned about African women's bodies. Don't you think it's very, very strange that this man has spent all his time thinking about women's uteruses? Don't you think that this is so weird that this man, an American man who has nothing to do with Africa, no affiliation with Africa, that all he thinks about is about Africans' women's wombs? Now, this man should be studied, and African women, Kenyan women, do not be flattered by this man, because listen, every time a white man has a big agenda for African women, you should be very, very concerned, because nothing good has ever come from projects that emanate from powerful white men, okay? So, Bill Gates' agenda with the Kenyan women is so weird, and he's already been told to from Namibia. So Namibian president just told him to get lost, that women's bodies are not experiments. But it seems like William Ruto doesn't actually care about women of Kenya. So say no to Bill Gates.
Welcome back to Gistline. Now, Africans are waking up, and what the Namibia president and Ibrahim Traoré are doing is giving "we are not your dumping ground." Namibia's bold rejection of a controversial Bill Gates project has sent shockwaves across the internet. It is now showing that leaders are no longer willing to accept foreign initiatives without asking hard questions. For too long, Africa has been treated as a testing lab for experiments, dressed up as charity. But this new wave of leadership is saying enough is enough. It's not just about saying no, it's about reclaiming sovereignty, demanding respect, and proving that Africans can decide what is best for their people. And that's what this Namibia president is doing. We all know that she's a woman, but this woman is very strong. Well, let's listen to what others have to say about this, and I'll be right back.
Namibia is a nation of modest size, with a population of over 3 million people. If any country should consider measures to curb population growth, it ought to be a country like United States with over 347 million people. This was the sentiment by Her Excellency the Namibia President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. She firmly rejected the proposal by the Gates Foundation to conduct trials of IUD designed to prevent pregnancy for up to 8 years. But in Kenya, the story is quite different.
The Namibia president has rejected the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's proposal to run trial for a human IUD that will prevent pregnancy for up to 8 years. Since Namibia rejected it, aid has been withdrawn, business deals have been blocked, and the West has quietly applied pressure to make Namibia bend. But Namibia is standing firm. President Nandi declared, "We will not compromise on the divine principle of life's creation and its sacred purpose to multiply and fill the earth." She warned the West. She warned that the West is pressing buttons to make African leaders dance to their demo. By this time, Namibia is not dancing. Do you agree with Namibia's stand, or should Africans bow to foreign funding pressure? Drop your thoughts below. Follow for more. Now, we know Kenya and Nigeria actually accepted. So this is in Kenya and this is in Nigeria. Does that mean that the presidents of those places do not think about their people? Let me know. Because if Namibia has actually really said no and stood tall against this, what is stopping Nigeria and Kenya to not say no? The ball is in your court. Do you think we need more women leadership? Is that what we are suffering from? Do we need more women leadership to enforce, to stand bold? I don't know, but it looks like most of the men are failing. But hey, I'll leave it up to you guys, and then send a message across. We out. Peace out.
African women, do not let Bill Gates get a hold of your wombs. Please please protect your wombs from Bill Gates. This is exactly how the message came through, and Mother was giving me this message against the background of this IUD that's going to be rolled out. And I think Kenya is the pilot country, and it lasts for 8 years and things like that. And for about 2 weeks now, actually, she's been saying this to me. You have to send out a message on my behalf regarding Bill Gates. And I said, okay, cool. But it hadn't reached that moment, like this very moment where I know, okay, today is the day that I have to deliver that message. But do not let him get a hold of your wombs. And what she said to me is that the program, this IUD, will obviously be rolled out first in the rural areas. And she was asking that even right now, perhaps you, as you watch, you are someone who is from a village in Kenya, maybe now you're residing in suburbia or whatever it might be, or actually you still live there. And she's asking that all of you must make sure that no woman takes this on, that no woman allows this IUD to be, she says, to infest her body, to be infested into her body. Because I was like, injected, and she said, no, infested into her body. No woman must allow this. And she said to me, I mean, our conversations are always a lot of things, but she said to me about this specific instance, she said, first of all, Africa has the youngest population across the world. And so, in a sense, one can say that there are many of us who are still to have children and all of that. And so, and I remember in the beginning, just because I like to play devil's advocate, because I can sense what someone might ask, that, but isn't this helpful and all of that? And now she's literally saying to me, a sheep disguised in wool, a wolf disguised in sheep's clothing, and that it is not what it seems. And the other thing that she keeps talking to me about, and I get why today is finally the day, she always says to me that man Ruto, that man Ruto. And it is very obvious in all our conversations that this is not a man to be trusted, that this is not the man who has the best interests of his people, that this is a man who bows down to powers that do not reside within Kenyan borders, let alone African borders. And so he is not in it for you. He is not in it for the people. He is not serving the people of Kenya. And so it is important that this, I was going to, okay, I'll still record as a separate message. And so he's not serving the people of Kenya, and Kenyans know this. And so please, please, please do not let Bill Gates, and she's not even saying the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, she just says, do not let Bill Gates get hold of African women's wombs. Okay?
This stand by Namibia is part of a growing pattern of resistance among African leaders who are tired of being dictated to by outside forces. Look at Ibrahim Traoré, who is a young leader and has boldly challenged foreign influence and pushed for self-reliance in everything from culture to healthcare. These leaders are proving that Africa does not need to be dependent on foreign billionaires' organizations to thrive. They are sparking a movement where African nations are encouraged to question not only the motives behind foreign projects, but also their long-term impact. And honestly, it's about time. Africa's past is filled with examples of projects that were marketed as life-changing solutions, but ended up creating dependency or worse, causing long-term harm. Whether it was experimental medical programs, genetically modified crops, or population control initiatives, many of these so-called interventions carried hidden risks and agendas. Now, instead of building sustainable systems that empower local communities, they often left countries vulnerable and reliant on outside help. Namibia's president has clearly learned this from history, and she has chosen to stand her ground and projects for her people rather than gamble with their future for the sake of global PR or donor funding. What makes this decision even more powerful is the message it sends to the rest of the continent. It's telling other African leaders that it's okay to say no, and that is the good thing. It's It's okay to challenge billionaires who believe their wealth gives them authority over entire nations like Bill Gates. It's okay to reject their projects which does not align with national values or serve the interests of the people. This is not isolationism. It's about self-determination. It's just a clear signal that Africa is capable of creating its own path to progress, one that is not dictated by outside interests. And the global reaction to Namibia's decision has been mixed. Some people are applauding it, some are calling it a courageous step towards protecting national sovereignty, while others criticize it. They are saying and suggesting that rejecting these Bill Gates projects could slow development and all. But here's the thing, real progress isn't about quick fixes handed down by foreign donors. It's about long-term investments in local talent, local solutions, and local control. What this president is doing is the best. And we're also seeing a ripple effect across the continent. In West Africa, countries like Mali and Burkina Faso, which are already rejecting all systems of foreign control and choosing the chart that they want to. So these decisions, it may come as a very hard decision and with challenges, like what Bill Gates is proposing to these people now. It's women's body. So why is this man so focused on women's body? But they're also laying the foundation for a future where Africa owns its resources, their policies, and their destiny. Namibia's bold stance only strengthens this movement, and this is proving that Africa is no longer afraid to push back when global interests clash with local realities. So let's be real. This is bigger than one project or one country. This is about rewriting the relationship between Africa and the rest of the world. For decades now, these people have been controlling Africa, and this foreign powers approach to the whole thing has not been nice. Africa is changing. Our leaders are younger, bolder, and more willing to call out hypocrisy when they see it. And a lot of people don't find this funny. They know that progress will never come from being passive recipients of other people's solutions. It comes from you building your own from the grass, and that's what these people are doing. The likes of Ibrahim Traoré, Mali president, and the rest. Namibia's decision is a reminder that Africa doesn't have to settle for handouts or settle for these people to get anything done. And at the end of the whole thing, this bold rejection is not just a political move for me. It's a symbol of continental awakening. Africa is no longer asleep. If you have any projects, I think Bill Gates should start with the US before coming down to this place, come and test whatever thing he's producing. Africa is no longer asleep. Leaders are no longer silent. The people are no longer willing to accept whatever is handed over to them. Namibia's president, Ibrahim Traoré, and others are proving that a new era has begun, one where Africa's future is being determined by Africans and no one else, and that's a very good move. Well, I'll be playing some clips for you to listen and also see. But before then, if this is your first time joining my channel, please kindly like, share, and subscribe.
Namibian President, the woman king, Her Excellency Netumbo, said to Brigade that she don't want his contraceptive that controls or prevents pregnancy for 8 years in her country, because Namibia is just 3 million population. You, Bill Gates, you left your country, America. Their population is about 450 something million people, but you want to come and prevent Namibian people, their population. You want to control their population. The president said no, and this offer will go to other African countries. Right now, the Kenyan president is saying yes, they will allow it, but very soon it will enter Ghana. I think this one, the Ghana leader is going to favor Ghanaians, because this, all that Gates is doing is to control the population of Africa. You don't want Africa to get populated again.
Guys, have you seen this? People are starting to question Bill Gates' intentions in Africa. First, Bill Gates tried to introduce this contraceptive that prevents pregnancy for 8 years. But Namibia's president, she was not having it. She rejected Bill Gates' offer to conduct trials in her country. And Ibrahim Traoré, he just banned Bill Gates' malaria project. This project released genetically modified mosquitoes all throughout the country. You can see some campaigns in Africa, they accuse this malaria project of worsening the spread of malaria. And this post really summarizes everything. Captain Traoré said, "Enough is enough, Bill Gates. Pack your things and leave." Namibia's leader said, "Our population is too small and it would be wrong for us to undermine future growth. Why not try your experiment in a nation like America with 340 million people? When will other African nations man up and do the right thing?"
Our homeland. While other African leaders are offering their people to be slaughtered by Bill Gates and his foundation, the president of Namibia has decided to do otherwise. In a strong worded statement, President Nandi Ndaitwah described the initiative as an injustice to the Namibian people and humanity at large. She argued that the population control measures should not be directed to a smaller country such as Namibia with just about 3 million people. And she further said, if any country should consider measures to curb population growth, it ought to be nations like the United States with over 347 million people. That is what she said. And she went as far as saying that any attempt to hinder or suppress the growth of human potential in Namibia constitute a grave injustice to her population. Those are the kind of people we need to vote as presidents in Africa. Not these monsters who are ready to offer us at the platter of gold to be slaughtered. And for what? Because they are given some crumbs in the name of money. You see the kind of people we put in power? This is Mama here. She's been in power for what? A couple of months. Maybe not up to a year or just around about 1 year. Look at what she has been doing for her people. Taking stands. She doesn't joke when it comes to taking positions. And whenever she's taking a position, the first thing is for the people of Namibia. What about your own president? What about our presidents? When it comes to us, our presidents are ready to take everything and give us as if we are animals to be slaughtered. They don't care about us. Kudos to Mama Ndaitwah. Namibian people, you need to know that you are so blessed to have a president like Mama Ndaitwah. My advice, make sure you protect your president. Mama, watch your back. Trust nobody. As you are taking these steps, we want you to watch your back. We want you to be cautious. Know who you have around your inner circle. Because trust me, not everybody is happy with the fact that you are shielding the people of your country. And remember, history has taught us that they always use those people who are closer to us to bring us down. And for the good work you are doing for us, not just for the people of Namibia, for Africa at large, we want you to be safe, Mama.
Baby, Bill Gates thinks your womb is his next software update. I need you to sit down because this level of cringe and colonial caucasity I'm about to break down is going to make you sick. No, Bill Gates, the computer guy, let's be clear, not a doctor, not an OBGYN, is about to launch a new world's first contraceptive patch for African women. You just press it on your skin and you're good for 6 months. How convenient. How innovative. How suspicious is hell. And of course there's the 8-year IUD too. And they're starting in Kenya and Nigeria because where else would you test out your new world first reproductive technology? Now on the surface, they're selling this as empowerment. Melinda Gates is out here talking about putting the power in the hands of young girls and women. Okay, we love to see that. But baby, let's talk about the caucasity because my spirit is not sitting right with the tech billionaire from Seattle deciding what's best for the wombs of millions of African women. First of all, I have to ask again, is Bill Gates a doctor? Is he an OBGYN? Did he go to medical school for this? No. So why is he the global authority for African fertility? The whole concept is cringe. Second, do we just ignore history? The West has a long, disgusting track record of using healthcare as a cover to experiment on black and brown bodies. So when they show up with a brand new gadget and want to try it on us first, we have every right to be skeptical. The article even admits critics are calling this population control and saying Africa is being used as a testing ground. But here's the part that should make you want to flip a table. While Bill is trying to put a patch on African fertility, his billionaire buddies like Elon Musk are crying on Twitter about not having enough babies to colonize Mars. Let me say that again. They are terrified about their declining populations in their countries, but they are actively funding programs to limit the number of black babies in Africa. Make it make sense. They look at Africa's young growing population, which is Africa's greatest strategic advantage for the future, and they don't see it as power. They see it as a threat that needs to be managed with a patch and IUD. And African leaders, the betrayal is crazy. And this is where it gets crazy for me. Are African leaders really this stupid? Are they this desperate for a check from a billionaire that they'll sign up their women to be guinea pigs for their latest project? When do we decide that the wombs of African women were the new frontier for big tech to beta test their products? So here's a real question I have for all of us, and I want you to really think about this. When a tech billionaire who's not a doctor offers to save African women with a new technology being tested in Africa first, while his friends panic about their own declining populations, is that charity, or is that a strategic move to neutralize Africa's greatest advantage? Africa's the now and the future. Make sure you join the African Mineral Rich Masterclass and tap into the truth. Let's take back the crown and tell these billionaires to go to Europe with their patches.
According to her, we cannot be used as an experimental tool for other people. When the Gates Foundation decided to contact her so that she will allow him to come and then roll out his 8 years contraceptive. According to the president, if Gates needs any way to control the population, Namibia, there are just about 3 million people. The United States of America is about 300 and something million people. So if they need any way to control the population, he should better send it to the United States of America and leave the people of Namibia alone. She didn't come into office to allow her citizens to be used as guinea pigs, just like William Ruto decided to allow this man to come into Kenya to launch this thing that hasn't been tested on anybody, for it to be used on the people in Kenya, for this man to ascertain whether it is good or bad before Yellow Papa can start using it. This is what we call leadership. Those of us who are there and we love leaders without looking at the works of them, when it comes to we the citizens, the ordinary people, and all that we know is listen to the speeches that these people give, we should wake up. The president of Namibia has shown us what good leadership is. It is not about how you love us on paper, but it's how you are willing to go to any length to protect us. When it is something good, technology is not for Africans. When it is about anything substantial, it is not for Africans. But when they want to experiment their things, then the leaders allow them to come and use us as guinea pigs so they can experiment whatever they have. So when will you, the African leaders, stop using us as such? And sometimes, if we, the people too, do not listen to the media houses and go into certain things, I don't think that anybody can force us. But sometimes, even when they realize that we will not do it, they will find another means to use it on us when we visit the hospitals. That is, we those who cherish anything white. We say bravo to our lovely president for protecting us. This is what leadership is all about. Protecting the people that you said you are leading and not exposing them to danger. If there is any way they need to control their population, they should send it to where they are bringing it from. The United States of America is over 300 and something million. They need to control their population. They don't have land. Africa, we have land. We have food. We are not hungry. Unlike the way they project us to the world, we are not hungry. We have everything. It's there people that are homeless people. They are hungry. We have food. So they should go and control their population and leave Africans alone. So that's the latest around the world.
The president of Namibia has refused to dance to the tune of the West. The first woman president in Africa who is very powerful from Namibia, her name is Netumbo Nandi, has refused the Bill Gates proposal to come to Africa and test a birth control IUD, which will make African women not to give birth for 8 years. So the Bill Gates Foundation had come to Namibia and told the Namibian president to allow them to carry experiments on how they are going to use this birth control IUD. And the president of Namibia, Netumbo Nandi, just told them no. Namibia has a population of 3 million people, and this is what she said, because she's very, very wise. Namibia has 3 million people, while your country, the United States of America, has 300 million people. Where should people use birth controls? A country that has less people, or in a country with more people like yours? And then she said, nobody should try to control what God has created. And God has given man the mandate to multiply and fill the earth. The question is, why is Bill Gates trying to control the population of the world? Which agenda does he have?
Africa's becoming one before our very eyes, and I'm telling you, the Americans don't like it. They are doing anything that they can to stop it. You see, Namibia, Zambia, and Botswana, they have decided to remove their borders. The borders that the colonizers put up, they are removing it. Imagine that. If you want to go between those two countries, all you need is your national ID, and you can just go through. That's just amazing. Those 3 countries, Namibia, Botswana, and Zambia, they're the first ever to create the Borderless Africa Alliance. They're trying to influence other African countries to do it, and I'm telling you, the Americans noticed and they are not impressed. They sent their representatives. They told them that they are not following the right process. They have to consult with the Americans, and the Americans have to oversee what is going on there. They cannot just do it out of nowhere. And I wonder, what does this have to do with the Americans? This is Africa's affairs and Africa's borders. Why does America need to be involved in such affairs? It seems like America is panicking. But why would America panic? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Zambia, they have copper and cobalt. Namibia, they have uranium. And Botswana, everyone knows Botswana have some of the best diamonds. And I'm telling you, America realizes if these 3 countries, they unite, they have bargaining power. Now America cannot just say, hey, if you don't give me this, I'll go to your neighbor. No, now all the neighbors are working together, and America is very threatened over that.
All these talks about the future is female, the future is female. The president of Namibia said, future where? Future what? The present is female. Literally. As of 21 March 2025, the country of Namibia is run by females. Let's talk about it. A little bit of background for those of you that do not know. Namibians went to the polls to vote for their presidential and national assembly elections in November 2024, and they elected their first female president, who became the second publicly elected female president in the whole continent of Africa. So on the 21st of March, he was sworn in. Netumbo Nandi he was sworn in as the 5th president of Namibia. And on the 22nd of March, the president announced her cabinet. Means the president of Namibia literally half the whole cabinet. From the previous administration, Namibia had 42 cabinet ministers and deputy ministers. And the current president, Netumbo Nandi was like, no, that is wasting of taxpayers' money. There are some ministries that can be merged into others. 22nd March 2025, Namibia literally has 14 ministers and 7 deputy ministers, making it a total of 21. By the current president, Netumbo Nandi also now said some ministries do not need deputies. That's why her cabinet only has 7 deputy minister. But that's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is how this country of Namibia for the next 5 years will literally be run by women. That is already on top of Namibia being one of the countries with more women in leadership position in other countries in the world, whereby over 49% of top public institutions in Namibia are literally headed by women. On top of that, the president, she is female. The vice president, she appointed a lady, Lucia Vetboy, who will be the vice president of Namibia. The speaker of the National Assembly in Namibia is female. Sarah Gogongora Mavila is female. The minister of international relations is female. The minister of health is female. The minister of education is female. The minister of information and communication technology is female. Minister of gender is female. Minister of home affairs is female. Literally out of 14 cabinet ministers, 8 of those are female. This honestly goes against everything that people keep saying the future is female. The president of Namibia was like, no, not the future. The present is female. And we are here for it, honestly. A lot of men on social media have come out to say it's too many women, it's too many this, without realizing that it's been too many men for over 35 years in this country after independence. And it's enough. Women are ready to lead, women can lead, and women should lead. These comments where people are making on social media to say that if one of these women fail, it's a huge responsibility because they are leading on behalf of all women in the world. That if they fail, if these women fail, then it's a fail of women that they cannot lead. Should not be the case, because when men fail and when men lead and they fail, it doesn't cast a dark cloud on any other men leading. It's an individual leadership. But the minute women fail, then all of a sudden it's all women that cannot lead. It has nothing to do with it. As a Namibian, I'm personally impressed and excited to see women finally owning their place in Namibia, walking the talk of gender equality. Namibia has historically been on the forefront of gender equality. Namibia was one of the few countries in Africa and in the world that had a lot more women in parliament as opposed to other countries. And it's good to see that now women are actually taking up important position of leadership in the public sphere, in the public service, which is really good to see. And I am honestly here for it. Honestly, all Namibia needs right now is the Chief Justice to be female. Make the Chief Justice female. Make the Attorney General female. And honestly, we've got this country governed and led, and we will be an example of what women in leadership looks like and what true leadership, true women empowerment, gender equality looks like. Honestly, I am so excited for the country of Namibia. The other positive with the new cabinet of Namibia is that there are so many new faces with regards to not only cabinet ministers, but as well their National Assembly. Namibia's National Assembly is made up of so many diverse individuals from all walks of life that are representing both the ruling party and the opposition parties across all sectors, from musicians to medical doctors, business, industry, entrepreneurship, art, creative space, anything, you name it, is represented in the Namibian House, in the Namibian Cabinet, and in the Namibian Parliament. There are, of course, a lot of bombastic side eyes given new cabinet ministers, with people on social media really wondering if they are really ready to lead, as that they have not. Some of these new cabinet ministers have never held leadership positions before, and they have been put in positions. One of those cabinet ministers that people are a bit worried about, newly appointed Minister of Health, who is Dr. Esperanza Lovedao, and a lot of people are worried, especially with the way the health ministry in Namibia is really needing that reform at the minute, and people are just wondering if Dr. Esperanza is really ready to bring the health ministry to where it should be, bringing quality healthcare to people. But we're excited to see what Dr. Esperanza brings to the table. Yeah, so anyways, are you following the Namibian presidency, the Namibian cabinet? Namibian parliament will be such an exciting watch, because there are so many different people bringing different perspectives and different ideas, and we're excited to witness this era of the Namibian democracy being played out, because this is what true democracy and true gender equality looks like. True equality looks like not just gender, ethnic equality, tribal equality, creative equality, and everything, you name it. I feel like it is finally being a little bit of everyone is being represented in the new administration of Namibia. Anyways, are you following Namibian politics? What do you guys think with the new cabinet, and what do you think is going to happen to the old cabinet, to the previous administration, the ministers that were all let go?
what is going to happen, because this whole appointment thing of just 5 years, you really need to have a backup plan, because if you're not reappointed, then what? Do you go back? For example, do you go back to now submitting applications for jobs, or what then happen, especially when it's a young person? Let's say you are appointed as a minister at the age of 25. You serve for 5 years, and then you are not reappointed. What happened to you then? Do you go back and dust off your CV and go back to applying for jobs, or what are your views? Let's talk about it.
So the new woman president of Namibia is taking back the land from German settlers. On May 28th, Namibia held its first G-Side Remembrance Day. It commemorated when Germans came to the country and murdered over 100,000 indigenous people. This was considered the first G-Side of the 20th century. Similar to South Africa, Namibia has 8% white people in the country, yet they own 70% of the farmland. And they got that through cruelty and brutality. From 1884 to 1915, the Germans came in and wrecked shop, honey. When the indigenous tried to fight back, they created concentration camps. Seems like that's kind of a trend for them. And these camps are considered Germans' first concentration camps. You know, before Auschwitz. And the German military executed those that didn't want to give up their land. In 2021, Germany finally admitted to what they did there. Germany promised that they would pay them $1.2 billion or $40 million for every year. However, Germany has not returned the looted land that they stole. So now, the government of Namibia said they're taking it back. And the German settlers are not very happy with that. Looks like Africa is starting to set a trend. They want their land back. No matter if it's South Africa or Namibia, you don't belong there.